Hey everybody, it's Trags outside Gillette Stadium alongside CLNS media colleague Alex Barth. 3 preseason games in the books, Alex, and the wide receiver position continues to be a position of, let's call it, intrigue.
Yes.
The Julian Edelman suspension of 4 games going into the regular season really set in motion a mix of variables that I don't think anybody could foresee. First of all, there has really been nobody to step forward and take a lead position at the number 2 spot. Probably Philip Dorsett is the closest thing to that. He had a good game against the Carolina Panthers with 4 receptions, and he figures to be slotted in number 2 behind Chris Hogan to start the season with Julian Edelman on suspension. But let's talk about a couple of names to begin this segment of guys that you would think get a lot of attention and would get a lot of attention from the New England Patriots. First of all, DeZ Bryant, and then Demaryius Thomas. There's a rumor regarding Demaryius Thomas we'll get to, but DeZ Bryant, why is he not here in New England?
I wonder if he wants to be here. I think it makes all the sense in the world for the team, but think about what we know about DeZ Bryant and why he left Dallas. Is winning the number 1 concern for him? This goes back to the whole offseason conversation of, is it fun to play for the New England Patriots?
Right.
I think DeZ Bryant's definition of fun is a little more in line with Lane Johnson's than it is with, say, Devin McCourty's or Tom Brady's. So I just think maybe they know that, and why have him in for a workout if they know he's not going to be a fit here. That has to be it for me. It has to be something with him, because to me, if he wants to be here, it makes all the sense in the world for this team to go out and sign him. So there has to be something going on his end that we don't know about that's stopping this from happening.
I don't necessarily agree with that, Alex.
Okay.
I think it's on the Patriots' end because they are the ones in charge here. Essentially, if they wanted to go out and get DeZ Bryant, they would. But there has to be something about DeZ Bryant that is going around the NFL, about his work ethic, about his ability to work with different systems and work with different sets of coaches that scares teams off, not just the Patriots. Certainly the Patriots are in the market, and they are a team that could use him and use a guy of his skill set. But I don't think the Patriots get a sense that DeZ Bryant would fit here in New England.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm wondering if they heard something from Dallas or Cleveland or wherever DeZ has talked to that they basically said, you know what, it's not even worth having him in for a workout. We're not going to sign him anyway, because a guy that good, and remember, he can still play. He didn't have a great quarterback in Dallas and Dak Prescott, and I know I'm opening up a whole can of bees when I say that, but I think he took a step down from Tony Romo at the quarterback spot, and it definitely affected his play. But from what we saw, the kid can still play. He's 29. I shouldn't call him a kid. He's 29. He's still relatively young. He still has ability. So for a guy that good to still be unsigned, you could say the same about a guy like a Jeremy Maclin, who's still a free agent. There's a couple guys out there that Dontrell Inman who have some ability. They've shown flashes of being top-level NFL wide receivers, but if they're still unsigned at this point, you just have to assume that there's something going on behind closed doors that's scaring teams off, and DeZ included.
Let's talk Demaryius Thomas. A rumor was floated out there by Mike Florio. He's got a ton of sources, obviously, around the National Football League, that it wouldn't be shocking if Demaryius Thomas, in the final year of his contract, paying him about $8.2 million, and initially drafted by Josh McDaniels, the Patriots coordinator, would somehow be let go by the Denver Broncos and John Elway, and maybe the Patriots would be interested because certainly they could use a guy of Demaryius' skill set.
See, I don't know if that's the kind of move the Patriots make. You mentioned dropped. Maybe if he gets to free agency, but I don't see them trading for Demaryius Thomas, and I don't see Demaryius Thomas getting to free agency. I think that if the Broncos shop him, they will find a trade partner. He will get moved. I don't think the Patriots will have a chance to put a claim in on him. I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world, though. His skill set, yes, in theory is what the Patriots need, but here's a guy, his catches have dropped every season for the last 4 seasons. His yards have dropped every season for the last 4 seasons. His touchdowns have dropped every season for the last 4 seasons. And he's a guy that doesn't handle contact well. He can't really play a physical game.
His compete level has always been of concern.
Right. I'm not sure that's what fits here, especially in this division that has very physical cornerbacks.
Right.
Demaryius Thomas for, I think it was $8 million was the number you said. I don't think that's something that the Patriots need on their roster. I don't think that's something that they want on their roster. If he gets to free agency and they can get him for that minimum and the Broncos are responsible for the rest of the contract, maybe they take a look at that point. But look, Eric Decker, was right there in that class with Demaryius Thomas, that great offense with Peyton Manning. Look at where Eric Decker's at now. I think Peyton Manning, not necessarily quite the same drop, but he's in the same boat of he's more of a name at this point than a talent.
Let's talk Eric Decker. Everybody wants to know, why was Riley McCarron in with Tom Brady in the first team before Eric Decker on Friday night in Carolina?
Yep.
How do you read that situation? I would read it that, look, Eric Decker just is not picking up the offense and the timing with Tom Brady, something Bill Belichick alluded to when I asked him about the receiver and the timing issues with Tom Brady and what it takes to become a very productive receiver here in New England. He said, look, it's something everybody works on. Eric Decker has worked very hard. He's done a lot of multiple things in the system here in New England already, but he didn't get on the field right away on Friday.
And even more than that, playing deep into the fourth quarter, it reminds me of, it was about 10 years ago now, John Lynch playing in the fourth postseason game against the Giants, and the story that Belichick basically went to him and said, look, John, you're not making the team. And Lynch said, that's fine, but I want to be like, this is going to be my last football game. Let me play out the fourth quarter. Let me have some fun. I'm not necessarily saying that Bill Belichick told Eric Decker to retire, but I wonder if he's giving Eric Decker a chance to showcase his skills in that third or fourth quarter as a potential trade piece, because he knows Eric Decker is not going to make this team. I think anybody that had any lingering down of Decker being a factor, at least initially. Now, he screams guy that gets signed again in November if nobody signs him when all the injuries hit. But initially, I think you're kidding yourself if you think Eric Decker is going to be on this team come week 1.
It should be noted, Bill Belichick on Saturday's conference call had glowing praise for Eric Decker and his work ethic and his ability to be a great teammate. He gave no indication that he has cold feet keeping Eric Decker, but sometimes Bill will say that about a player, just as you said, to pump up his value to other teams that, hey, maybe he doesn't make our roster, but this guy can work hard.
And maybe that's a guy they can trade if they want to go out and get a receiver like a Randall Cobb, like a Pierre Garçon, guys who might be moved in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, it's going to take a draft pick, but it's especially to get a guy from a struggling team. You throw in Eric Decker, they can maybe see if they can pump his career back up. But I think at this point, his best value, if at all, is a trade piece. I doubt they can trade him, but Belichick's certainly going to try, because I think that's where this receiver is going to come from, whether it's Demaryius Thomas or somebody else like a Randall Cobb. I think it's going to be a trade, because the free agency market out there right now, while there are some big names like DeZ Bryant, like Jeremy Maclin, those guys not being signed right now are red flags. Belichick knows that, and I think he's going to have to go like Philip Dorsett last year and grab somebody off another team.
How comfortable are you, as we wrap it up here from Gillette Stadium, with Philip Dorsett as the number 2 receiver to start the season behind Chris Hogan?
I feel great about it. I think I feel better than most people about it, because I was a huge fan of Dorsett in Indianapolis. I think his game translates very well to the modern NFL, and last year, sure, he had a down season, but I think it was a case like we've seen on a lot of teams with a lot of players. When you get brought into a new system, at that point, it can take a full year to adjust. And Bill Belichick talks about this all the time.
Sure does.
Guys having a year in the system. Now that Philip Dorsett has a year in the system, has a year of experience with Tom Brady, I think he could have a breakout year.
Which receivers catch on here in New England to start the 2018 season? It's certainly one of the main storylines we'll be following on CLNS Media. Follow us on Twitter at Patriots CLNS. He's Alex Barth. I'm Mike Petralia. Outside Gillette Stadium, CLNS Media.